Greetings everybody, the Doctor here. Welcome back to another Starship review on Star Trek Online. Today I'm going to be looking at the Hirogen Apex Heavy Battlecruiser. That is our review for today. Let me bring that up for you. The Hirogen Apex Heavy Battlecruiser is purchased here in the Low-Buy store, for 800 Low-Buy. This is where you can get it, so it is a lockbox ship. Excuse me, not a lockbox ship, a Low-Buy ship. But it is in a lockbox when you purchase it, is what I mean. This is a Low-Buy ship. You can also find it on the exchange. Current pricing, when I saw it last, was around 75 million energy credits. So it's not too expensive, and there's a reason for that. I'm going to open up the stats page here and let you read this and then look at the stats. I have some papers in front of me, real actual papers that I have printed out to give us information on the Hirogen Apex Heavy Battlecruiser. This is taken from the Stowe Wiki. I'm going to read through this information, which will give you a little bit more information about this particular ship. The Hirogen Apex Heavy Battlecruiser is a truly fearsome vessel that is well suited to hunting down even the most deadly prey. The Apex lacks the maneuverability of its hunter counterpart, but compensates with tremendous hull and shield strength. This ship comes equipped with a photonic decoy swarm universal console. This ability will baffle enemy sensors by creating a series of photonic decoys which create ghost energy and hull signatures almost identical to the vessel that deploys them. By launching several of these decoys at a time, the effects are enough to frustrate most enemies into letting their guard down, allowing the attacking Hirogen to gain the tactical advantage in any conflict. All Hirogen ships possess long-range sensor masking. This is a passive ability which grants the Hirogen ship a small amount of stealth, which will render the Hirogen's craft undetectable at long range. Let's see what else is relevant from this paper I am reading here. Performance. This will be important. Let's go over this here. With an appearance derived from the large Hirogen ships seen in the Voyager episode Flesh and Blood, the Apex is a monster of a ship, with an in-game model as large as the 1,300-meter Vokouv carrier. The prominent command section and massive body give the ship the appearance of something that could take an immense beating and still come back for more. Being a battlecruiser, the Apex unsurprisingly shares many characteristics with the Klingon ships of the same type. Like them, the ship focuses on an excellent defense with its engineering side, but also has a good secondary tactical side. 5 engineering consoles, a commander engineering, strong shields, and a reasonable crew, 1,200, give the ship excellent defenses and tanking potential. However, a lieutenant commander tactical, 3 tactical consoles, and 2 universal BOF stations also gives the ship good potential offensive ability without being a tactical powerhouse. The ship's low turn rate limits its offensive ability, but ultimately the ship performs well for those who like strong but not exclusively engineering-centric ships. So there you go, everybody. That's a little overview there of the ship. Hirogen vessels are known for their versatility and durability, as the alphas that captain these starships frequently find themselves in dangerous and unknown scenarios while tracking their chosen prey across the stars. The Hirogen Apex Heavy Battlecruiser is a truly fearsome vessel that is well suited to hunting down even the most deadly prey. The Apex lacks the maneuverability of its hunter counterpart, but compensates with tremendous hull. Okay, we already went over that. We will go over this photonic decoy swarm. That is pretty interesting. And the passive sensor masking, which basically gives the ship a little bit more stealth. If you equip both the enhanced inertial dampener field and the photonic decoy swarm, it will double the defense and damage bonus gained by activating the inertial damper field. So that's something that you can combine if you have both ships. I do not have both ships. I only have the one right this second on this character. Hull strength. Okay, let's go over all the stats. Hull strength, 43,500. So that is a pretty low hull strength starting off, but we're going to talk more about that because the ship is upgradable to Tier 5-U, which will give you more hull. Shield modifier 1.25, so it actually has a pretty high shield modifier given the fact it's an engineering ship. It has a crew of 1,200, so that's a pretty high crew. That's more than the Enterprise D. The Enterprise D's capacity, it could have about 1,000 people on board, well, it had 1,000 people on board. Well, this has 1,200, so this is even bigger. Weapons, 4 fore, 4 aft, device slots 3, 1 lieutenant commander tactical, 1 commander engineering, so it's an engineering-centric ship, 1 lieutenant science, 1 ensign universal, 1 lieutenant universal, 3 tactical console slots, 5 engineering, 2 science, 6 degrees per second turn rate, extremely slow turn rate, impulse modifier, 0.16, plus 10 to weapon power and plus 10 to shield. It can equip dual cannons, but why would you want to? We'll talk more about that. Console, universal photonic decoy swarm, long-range sensor masking, which is a passive ability you do not have to activate, and then cruiser command ray abilities, shield frequency, strategic maneuvering, and weapon system efficiency. Again, 800 low buy in the store. Basically, this is a Tier 5 ship. It is a Tier 5 low buy store ship. However, because it is a low buy store ship, it does receive a free Tier 5-U upgrade. That means that you do not have to purchase a token to upgrade the ship. You can just upgrade it for free to Tier 5-U. So pretty much if you purchase the ship, you are going to want to upgrade it to Tier 5-U for free and go with it from there. There is every reason to upgrade it to Tier 5-U. You do not want to leave it just Tier 5 because it will not be a competitive ship at Tier 5. It needs the Tier 5-U upgrades to even be a little bit competitive, and even then it's still not an entirely competitive ship. We will talk more about that. I've got a lot to say about this ship, but that gives you an overview of what the ship is all about. Okay, let's take a look now at my build on this ship, and I'm going to be using all the specific and special Hirogen gear that you can purchase from the low buy store to put together to get all that special Hirogen gear sets on here and the bonuses that are provided. I'm going to take a look right now at my build. Remember, of course, that disclaimer, every build is different. Everyone builds ships differently for different reasons. I build for fun. This build may or may not work for me. In fact, I'm going to show you 2 different builds on the ship. One, I'm going to show you a build with all the Hirogen gear stuff on it, but then I'm going to show you a potentially better build that you could do on this ship. But again, you yourself could devise an even better build than that, or a different build. Everybody builds differently, and there's a million different ways to build a ship. Okay, before we hop into there, actually, let me go back to the low buy store because I need to show you where you get these items. Under Space Gear, there are Hirogen items. There is this long-range destabilized Tetrion heavy cannon. As you can see, it is part of a set called Apex Predator. So this is meant for the Hirogen ships, and it is part of a gear set. This is basically a long-range heavy cannon. It can fire at distances greater than 10 kilometers. In fact, it says they're 12 kilometers. So it can fire farther than any other weapon in this game. However, it's only basically a one-shot cannon. It's not a dual cannon or a dual heavy cannon. It's just a one-shot cannon, and that firing rate is pretty slow. And it is Tetrion damage. We'll go more into what showing you and demonstrating that weapon. But there are other pieces to the puzzle, and that is this one as well, called the Tethered Quantum Mine Launchers. These are mines that will deploy, and they will tether themselves to your ship and follow you as you move through space. It's kind of weird, but it is part of the set if you want to have all the bonuses anyway. And then the third piece of the puzzle is this console called the Threat Analysis Matrix. It helps with kinetic damage resistance, a little bit of defense, resist, hold, disable, knock, repel. It's a console, but it is part of the set, as you can see, part of the Apex Predator set that has a set 2 and set 3 bonus if you have all 3 of these in place, and I do on our Apex ship. The other pieces to the puzzle are the fact that if you have the Hunter Escort, there is a console it comes with. You can also put in combination with your Photon Decoys on the Apex, and that will also give you a set. But I don't have that ship to combine those consoles. Okay, now let's look at the ship. Here it is, Hirogen Apex Heavy Battlecruiser. Yes, Tier 5-U. I already upgraded this to Tier 5-U. Again, every low-buy ship has a free upgrade to Tier 5-U, so there's no reason not to upgrade this thing to Tier 5-U. If you get it, if you purchase it, upgrade it to Tier 5-U. That should be the very first thing you do. That way you start working on those Starship Mastery unlocks as you play the game. Very, very important. This ship needs those Tier 5-U extra abilities. And remember, those abilities are Starship, you get 4 Starship Mastery unlocks. You get an extra console slot, and I believe it was our engineering slot here. Let's see, how many did we have before? We had 5. What did we have? No, it is another tactical slot is actually what the Tier 5-U gave us. So the base tactical slots are 3 tactical on a standard Tier 5 Apex, but the Tier 5-U gave us a 4th tactical slot, which helps because this ship does very low damage, and it really needed that other tactical slot. So thank goodness for that, for the Tier 5-U version. And it also has, because Tier 5-U version, a scaling hull up to level 60, which gives you a much higher hull strength than the Tier 5 version had. All those things you want and need on this ship. Okay, let's go over this build. This build, again, this particular build right here is based on using the Apex Predator set. So we have the Apex Predator set on here. That is a 3-piece set, a console, a weapon, actually a console, a weapon, and a mine is what that is. So here's the Threat Analysis Matrix console, part of that set. That is on here. That's going to give us kinetic damage resistance, a little bit of defense, resist, hold, disable, knock, repel, and slow. Then we have the tethered mines, tethered quantum mines on our ship, and that's basically creates 2 level 51 tethered quantum mines, and they will be tethered with the ship. I'll show you how that works. And then the cannon, you have to have this on there as well, the long-range destabilized Tetrion. So since this is all Tetrion based, we need to maintain the same energy type to get the most damage out of the ship. So we went with Tetrion. And in fact, I'm using destabilized Tetrion. Now the reason why is that seemed to be the best matchup here, really, for weaponry. I looked at the other one. There's another type of Tetrion I just forgot the name of, and that's what comes native to the ship, but I couldn't actually find that specific energy type in the exchange or anywhere to buy that type of weapon. It's a different Tetrion energy type, but it was not available, so I'm using destabilized Tetrion. You can also use just regular flat old plain Tetrion. Nothing wrong with that either. In fact, I would probably just go ahead and do that and get the fleet versions of those weapons so that you have, you know, a higher rarity and higher damage and all that stuff on it. So if I were going to redo this ship and actually make it a long-term ship, I would push for fleet Tetrion weapons here, and obviously they would start at Mark 12 and eventually I'd upgrade them to Mark 13 or 14. But the cannon is Tetrion, so that's what you want to stick with on this ship, is Tetrion. Let's talk about those bonuses that it comes with. There are a 2-piece and 3-piece bonus. The 2-piece bonus is called Destabilizing Emitters. This flat out increases Tetrion damage by plus 8.9%, so you are getting increased Tetrion damage by having that 2-piece of the Apex Predator set. Very good. So again, you want to keep with the whole Tetrion theme on this ship. Makes the most sense. It also improves shield drain and energy drain. If you are using any kind of sciencey power that drains shield and energy from your enemy, this two-piece set would help with that. But this is not a real sciencey ship, so that doesn't make much sense to me. I would have rather have seen that be a resistance to shield drain and energy drain. That, I think, would have been more useful, because this is more of a tanking ship. So any kind of extra resist you could get would be really helpful. I wish that it was a resist instead of improve. The third piece bonus you get is called the Tetrion Sniper Blast. This is a special ability that you equip on your hotbar in space, and you activate it, and it's got a 45-degree targeting arc, so very narrow, very, very narrow. But it has a 12-kilometer range, so you can do it outside of that 10-kilometer range of other weapons. So you can fire on enemies basically before they can fire on you. You just have to stay outside of their firing range. 2-second recharge, 3-minute recharge once you fire it. It does Tetrion damage to all enemies within 2 kilometers of target. So it's a bit of an AoE effect, because if there are enemies right next to the ship you're firing on, 2 kilometers away at least, it will do damage to them as well. And it may be activated up to 12 kilometers from the target, but no closer than 4, which is interesting. So you have to be within that range there to do it. And if you have all of these installed on a Hirogen ship, which we do, you have what's called Sniper Synergy, which means the energy drain associated with your Tetrion Sniper Blast is cut in half. So less energy drain, since we're on an Apex ship here with this set, less energy drain firing the Sniper Blast. So that is interesting, but I honestly have not found it to be a very powerful weapon. So I question that Sniper Synergy. I would have liked to see maybe a different power there. Okay, so that's basically the Apex Predator set on our Apex Heavy Battlecruiser. There is another set you can get, and it's called the Hirogen Heuristics. And as you can see, this ship came with the Universal Photon Decoy Swarm, but there is another console out there called an Enhanced Inertial Damper Field. You get this on the other Hirogen ship that exists, and if you put both of those on here, you would get this set 2 bonus called Rapid Directional Target Acquisition, which would do improves the ambush bonus associated with your enhanced inertial damper field, plus 10% additional damage bonus and additional defense bonus. So the damper field console has an ability, and basically the 2-piece of this will help that ability. So if you have both ships, you could put both of those consoles on this one ship. Obviously, you're going to lose a console slot in doing that. Thankfully, this does have 5 engineering console slots, which is extremely useful. And now it has 4 tactical, because it is a Tier 5-U upgraded version. So that is more useful now. Does not have a lot of science consoles, not really a sciencey ship. It is engineering centric. It is meant to be a tank. It really does not do a lot of damage. Can you do a lot of damage with this ship? No, really not. No, not at all. It's pretty terrible, actually. Okay, so here's what I've done for this particular build. I've got a new Carraya Particle Converter on here, simply because it increases my shield power settings, resists shield drain and energy drain, and gives me accuracy with beam weapons. I also have a science field generator on here just to give me more maximum shield capacity. It did end up upgrading that to Mark 14 just because it was cheap to do so. I have my Universal Assimilated Module, EPS, and my Enhanced Neutronium Alloy with hull HP, trying to get the hull on this thing as high as possible because that's its benefit, that is its strength. Also the Threat Analysis Matrix and the Photonic Decoy Swarm, which I will show you in action in space. Again, on weapons, all Tetrion. I got the long-range stabilized Tetrion heavy cannon. I went ahead and put a dual refracting Tetrion cannon. This is from the new Carraya reputation. I thought it was a kind of a good match there. And then destabilizing Tetrion beam array. These are only Mark 11. I mean, ultimately, if I were going to keep this ship, I would upgrade these, obviously. But it gets the job done for this video to let me show you what's going on here. Now, because this thing turns so slowly, has a very, very tight, or non-tight, very, very wide turn rate, I put on here a wide-angle Voth transphasic chronoton launcher. The wide-angle part of it means that it has a 180-degree targeting arc, so this ship, while it's turning slowly, I can still fire my torpedoes at the enemy. I think for a slow-moving ship, having a wide-angle torpedo makes a lot of sense. For my deflector, impulse, and shield, I went with the Mako shield because that does a lot of good things, as you can see there. The impulse engine is the adapted Mako combat impulse engine, and the shield is the adapted Mako covariant because it has the highest shield capacity, and then I have the 2-piece bonus from having 2 adapted Mako sets on here. For the warp core, I went ahead and used the Dyson Field Stabilizing Warp Core. Of course, you could use a better one if you had one. This is basically increases your shield power and adds weapon power to shield power. This is all about improving your shield power, and that's very important on a ship like this that you're trying to turn into a tank. That's kind of the way I went with this ship, as a tank. Alright, now let's go over the Starship Mastery unlocks, because this is part of the Tier 5-U version, obviously. You want that, you need it, so make that happen, and then get it all skilled up. As you can see, I am all skilled up. All 4 of them are unlocked. The first one provides physical damage resistance and kinetic damage resistance, so my resistance rating is really high on this ship, especially for kinetic. The second one was a plus 15% critical severity, so it's going to increase my critical severity when I hit a crit shot. This is going to give me an all energy damage resistance rating on top of the other one that was already there, plus a radiation damage resistance. This thing just has a ton of resistance ratings. So as you can see, they have basically built this ship to be a tank. The fourth is plus 10% hull hit points. I mean, there you go, more hull strength on your ship already. Just getting that hull strength way up and up and up and up. And then remember, the other T5-U upgrade is the fact that it has a scaling hull at level 50 and above. And I am level 60, by the way. I am on my engineering character, the Last Doctor. He is level 60, so we are seeing the max stats on this ship. 4 stations. Okay, stations are interesting. Very low on science stations, but that makes sense. That's not what the ship is about. So I just have a science team 1, hazard emitters 2. This has a commander engineering, so this is what this ship is all about, is that commander engineering slot and what you want to put there. I went with directed energy modulation 3. I mean, you could go with other things. I've got emergency power weapons to 3 to try to do the most damage I can, because the ship does not do a lot of damage. Engineering team 2 and emergency powered engines 1. I went with the beam fire at will 3. Torpedo high yield 2, tactical team 1. I got torpedo spread 1. I also have beam overload 2. Remember, beam overload 2 crits every time you do it now, so that's a very useful ability on a ship with a lot of beams. And then target shield subsystems to take their shields down. This is I think a pretty good setup on the bridge officers. I really don't have a problem with that. Bridge officer stations are really not too terrible. It's really a lot of the other stuff that's terrible. As for my specializations, just so you know, I have basically all the ones that give you resistance in space. All the intelligence officer tier 1 abilities in space, those are active. I'm not using pilot, so I don't have any of those active, just under the intelligence officer. For my traits, my space traits, just so you are aware, I am using Grace Under Fire. I am using Warp Theorist, Techie, Accurate, and that's a ground ability, I believe. So that's what I've got on space. Also, I'll just show you my DOF things real quick here in space. I have a chance to reduce the time to recharge torpedoes, increase damage versus Borg, chance to reduce the time to recharge evasive maneuvers, chance to gain shield power when using torpedo weapons, and a recharge time reduced for engineering team and buff. Okay. Make sure I got everything here. Just don't want to miss anything. There is one thing this ship is missing. I would love to have seen a hangar bay here. Yes, it's a battlecruiser. It's not a carrier, but it's big enough and slow enough to be a carrier. It could use one hangar bay. It could support one hangar bay. It's big enough to, that's for sure. No question about the size. This ship makes a scimitar look small. Let me just put it that way. This ship is gigantornormous. Gigantonormous. What I want to show you right now is I want to go into the ship customizations and show you what's available under ship customizations for this thing. It has a few different skins. So here is the skin I've got it looking like right now, which I think is the best looking one, because I really don't like the brown colors. But if you did, there is a Hirogen Type 1 skin that makes it look like that. Very, very brown. A Type 2 skin, which makes it, that's more acceptable. I kind of like that skin too. I might go back to that skin. I mean, that's an okay skin. And then the Type 3 is the skin I'm using now. That's my favorite skin, I think. I like that one the best. And then an upgrade skin, because it's a Tier 5-U, you have a new upgrade skin texture that they made available for Tier 5-U ships. So that's what the upgrade skin would look on it. I kind of like that because it's a little shiny. But this is what it came with default, is the Hirogen Type 1 skin. I just really don't like that. Not into the brown skins on ships there. So I'm going to stick with the Type 3. But that's all you can do to it. You will notice there are no style changes you can make. The forehull, aft, center, nacelles, coils. You can't change any of the styles. So you only get this one style template. Even the templates here, it's the same style. It's just different colorings, basically, as you can see there. You can put a pattern on it if you like a pattern. And there are a few different window types, or 3 different window types there. It does have a Hirogen interior, a bridge. We'll take a look at the bridge. But that's all you can really do here. So changing the colors, changing the material, putting a pattern on it, and the windows, that's about all you can change. No style changes. Every Hirogen Apex is going to look the same. Before we go look at the ship in space and take it into action, let's go visit the bridge. And we'll take a look at the unique Hirogen bridge. And then after the bridge, we'll go into space, look at the stats, see how it performs, and then we will go take it into action. The bridge typically takes a long time to load on every starship. So we'll just wait. Hopefully this won't take too long. Any second now, any day. Boy, that is a long counter. Oh, jumped from 3% to 40%. Okay. So here is the unique bridge. I have to say, I do like the layout of the bridge. I like the colorings, the style of the bridge here, the atmosphere, the environment is very cool, very unique. But we have parts of alien creatures in jars, very Hirogen, so I like that. A bridge officer back here working on a thing. We have our duty officers. We can contact duty officers from here and do things. We can access library files for whatever we need to use that for. These are stations basically that our bridge officers work on. Here's our account bank. See if we can go in these doors. Yes, we can. More parts hanging from the ceiling. And then the main bridge is basically this up here. We can select a small craft. Got our weapons hanging up there. Small window out in space. They don't have big views into space, but this is basically where they work from. This is the bridge. As crazy as it seems. Remember, the Hirogen are larger than humans, so you know, a large bridge, very tall, makes a lot of sense for them. We can go back here, but there is nothing back here, so what's the point of that? Absolutely nothing. So that's the bridge. Pretty small, there's not a lot here. I wish there was more of the ship we could explore. Wish there was a little more to it, but that's what you get. At least it has a unique bridge. Good gosh. I do not like when they come out with unique ships and don't have unique bridges. I think every ship should have a unique bridge. That should just be standard part of everything. Okay, let's go into space and I'll show you what all the stats line up to in space. Again, I am level 60. The ship is maxed out on stats, so there is nowhere else to go. We are showing the full amount of stats that we can show for an Apex Battlecruiser Tier 5-U. The first thing you'll notice is just the sheer size, how big this ship is compared to other ships. And I'll line it up next to some other ships here I see in sector space, I mean in soul space, and you can see. But before we do that, just want to make sure all my things are slotted correctly. I've been having a problem with the loadouts. They don't want to always stick correctly. It's an ongoing bug that's really annoying. Let's get away from all the noise of Earth space dock because it's very loud. And now we can look at all the stats on this ship. Okay. First thing is the stealth mode. Again, this is the passive ability. You don't have to activate it. It's just part of the Apex. It gives you a little bit of defense. So if we look at our defense rating, it's minus 5% right now because we're not moving. But if we move, see, our defense is at 40%. So that's pretty high defense. And when we're moving, it says stealth mode full charge, so I guess it's got a charge kind of thing. But it does it all automatically. You don't have to do anything to change that. Tactical readiness is part of our adapted Mako set. Here's the sniper blast button that I have ready to go when I can demonstrate that. So this is an extreme AoE Tetrion damage, 45-degree targeting arc, but remember you can only do it between 12 kilometers and 4 kilometers, so you can't be too close, but you can do it far away. It does 10,000 Tetrion damage to all enemies within 2 kilometers of target. So that's quite a bit of Tetrion damage, but it's not a lot. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but I've used this thing and it has a slow recharge time. You only use it once. It doesn't really seem worth it, to be honest with you, as a weapon. I guess if you constantly stayed out of enemies' range, their weapon range at 10 kilometers, you stay behind that, you could like keep shooting them and they could never shoot you. But it would take a very long time to grind an enemy down with just the sniper blast. Okay, let's look at the stats here. Crew is 1,200. Crew recovery rate is near 60%. 1,200 alive crew. 22.41 stealth. Actually, I was looking at the wrong thing. The defense is not stealth. Duh. The stealth is the stealth. The defense is the defense. Two different things. 22.41 stealth protection. So that is what that passive stealth thing is actually buffing right there. Is a stealth detection rating. Power transfer rate's over 200%, pretty good. Here's what's really impressive. The hull is sitting at 93,659. And I believe if we did some extra stuff here, we could get that hull well over 100,000 K. I mean, that's very easy to do. There are some other buffs I don't have, you know, traits that you could put on there that increase your hull strength. You could put more of these neutroniums on here. Imagine just filling your engineering slot with nothing but neutroniums, you know. You could completely get that hull strength well over 100,000. Very easy to do. But where I'm sitting right now, we're at 93,000. That's still really high. So a very good hull tanking ship. 150% hull repair rate. Forward shields are at 17, or all my shields are at 17, almost 18,000. My resists are very high, just like we knew they would be. Kinetic resist is the highest, I mean 51%, wow. But all the others are almost at 50%. And that's, remember, because the Mastery has so many resist here. You have physical and kinetic damage resist, and then it has all energy damage and radiation damage resist as well. So all of that is just really high. Crit severity is 90%. Crit chance is 6.6%. Bonus accuracy 25%. 3.4 degrees per second. We're not moving. Let's move. My full turn rate is 8.7 degrees per second. That's up just a little bit from the 6, but I'll tell you that is so slow. As far as damage that I'm doing, this beam is doing 948 DPS, 1185 Tetrion. The dual beam is doing over 1200 DPS and 1500 Tetrion. The cannon, the long-range Tetrion burn cannon, see, it does almost 800 DPS, so it's not doing as much DPS as a single beam. So it does, it's just not a very powerful cannon. Very underpowered compared to like a dual cannon or a dual heavy cannon. 1195 Tetrion, not much Tetrion damage either. These beams they're a little lower right now because they're Mark 11. The mines, they do 3,425 kinetic damage with a 20% shield penetration. So that's what all that does. That's what I'm doing on this ship. It's not a lot of damage, to be honest with you. Not a lot of damage. More tanking than damage. So that's really the only special ability I can activate for weapons is this Tetrion Sniper Blast. And you can see the targeting arc when I highlight it. Very narrow arc that it fires in. And then, of course, the Photonic Decoy Swarm. This is probably the more interesting of the features or abilities of this ship. This launches 4 level 61 decoy drones for 30 seconds. Each drone summons a photonic decoy that will fire upon all nearby foes. I like the fact that it fires on the foes. It's not just a decoy. It also fires on them, just like the photonic ability that science captains have. Well, at least one drone is active within 5 km of the user, and all decoys have a chance to become briefly untargetable for 2 seconds. After 30 seconds, or upon destruction, each drone explodes. So I'll activate it now. And it does it in 4 quadrants, basically in my fore, my aft, and to my sides. I'll do it. That's as far as I can zoom out. I am literally zoomed all the way out on this ship, and it's still that large. I cannot zoom anymore out. But here's the photonic decoys all around my ship, and they stay in that same position. So if I move out like this, now they're going to explode. But if I move away from them, they stay there, so they don't move with you. They're basically just stuck out in space, and they deploy wherever you deploy them, and they just sit there. And if there's an enemy within range of them, it'll fire on that enemy, all 4 of them. So that's a benefit. So like, let's say you've got like a big ship, you know, you want to fly up to, you could deploy the swarm, and then you could fly away from that swarm and that ship, and those decoys would be firing on that ship for you, and then you could pull out a range of their weapons, like say get outside of 10 kilometers and be firing on their ship, and they can't fire on you, but you can fire on them. So that is one of the advantages, I guess, of the photonic decoy swarm. Out of all the abilities on this ship, this is the most useful one. I use this a lot, well, pretty much all the time. One reason is just simply I need to use it to add more damage, because the ship does not do a lot of damage or DPS. For those looking for a ship that does damage and tanking, this is not it. Not your ship at all. This ship is very low on the damage front. Now, I wanted to show you how it looked in comparison to some other ships, just to give you an idea of the size of the ship. So look, there's a Jem'Hadar Dreadnought, right? The Jem'Hadar Dreadnought is a pretty large ship. But look at the size comparison here. Look how big my ship. My ship is bigger than that. Here's a Galaxy class with a Galaxy X right up there. I'm trying to pull this in so you can kind of get an idea. I mean, look how much bigger this ship is even compared to that, right? Here's a, oh, it just flew away. I was going to show you a green ship. Look at that. Look how tiny that ship is compared to mine. This is max zoom in. I'm zoomed in as max as possible there. You can barely fit the whole ship in the same screen. Here it is zoomed all the way out. That is zoomed all the way out as far as I can go. This ship is just massive. I mean, there is just no other way to put it. This ship is it's just very large. Very large. I actually have trouble flying it because it's so big. I will end up overtaking the enemy many times. It looks like I'm getting close to the enemy to fire on them, right? Like I'm behind the enemy or something, or I'm flying toward them, like getting close to firing. But in my perspective, I'm actually like past them or over them. Like, let me show you, see if I can get an example here with this ship. Never mind, they flew away. Let's say I was firing on this ship. It's hard to tell what my orientation is, because if I come around, often what will happen is I'll fly too far. I'll be firing on the ship like this, and then I'll come too far, and the ship is actually like up over here beside my ship or above my ship. It's hard to explain without really showing you, but it's hard to fire on smaller ships with this thing. So that's why beams are really the only option on this ship. How could you possibly use cannons on this ship? It's too slow. You can't get in the firing arc. And even when you do, it's so big. It's so big that you end up going too far past your ship like this, and they end up behind you most of the time. It's really weird. I have to say that this is not a fun ship to fly. Really is. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, now that we've looked at all that, is I'm going to fire up the, I'm going to do the Infected Space Advanced. We'll do ISA as normal, then we'll go to Argala, and then we'll do maybe another one. And then we'll sum up this ship. I have a lot to say about it, so please stay to the end of the video and listen to my commentary after I do all the battle things I'm going to do with it, because what I'm going to show you is a different build that may actually be a little bit better if you want to do more damage. Right now I'm showing the build to utilize all the special, you know, Apex Predator abilities and all that, but I'm going to show you a build that is not Tetrion that could probably be a little better, but I'll do it at the end of the video because I want to first go through all of the battles, you know, show you Infected Space Advance, do all the other things first, and then we'll summarize. So stay tuned to the end of the video. You definitely don't want to miss my summary of what I really think about this ship. It is colorful. Alright, I'm going to pause the video now while I queue up for an Infected Space Advance, and I'll be right back. Stay tuned. Okay, welcome back everybody. Here we go. Infected Space Advanced, about to start. And I will show you what this ship can do, hopefully. Now, if we don't get to use all the abilities in this one, I will demonstrate them in one of the patrols. So if I don't get to use the Sniper Blast, I'll use it otherwise in another thing. Make sure everything's on here, because that loadout... Okay.
Here we go. Tetrion beams. Oh, I got a crit shot in there. Nice, very nice.
You will become
Forgot to do that.
With the Borg.
Target's shields have failed.
Oh yeah, the tethered mines. There they are. I couldn't show you them in Soul Space because you can't activate them, but now that I'm in battle, that's what they do, is they stay attached to your ship with this tether wherever you fly, and like if an enemy comes close to them, they will explode on the enemy, and that's really about it.
Warning, ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
I'll use the photonic swarm here in a little bit. Not a good opportunity to use it yet. I basically use it for the added firepower.
From this time forward, your culture will adapt to service ours.
Okay, Sphere. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and activate it now.
Right shield failing. Target's shields have failed. Left shield failing. 4 shields failing. Hull integrity below 50%. Rear shields failing.
We are the Borg.
Hull integrity below 75%.
Alright, let's use the sniper blast on this spear. There it goes. Bam, bam. It didn't do much. And then it has to recharge for 3 minutes. What's the point of it? There isn't one.
Target's shields have failed.
Like this right here is what I was talking about. You end up passing your enemy easily because your ship is so big. At least I can fire my torpedo wide angle.
Target shields have failed.
Your defensive capabilities are unable to withstand us. Lower your shields and await assimilation.
My tethered mines just don't seem to be doing anything.
Target's shields have failed.
Do the photonic decoy again and use the extra firepower. And you can see that they do fire on the enemy, so that's nice. That is a useful feature.
Ship is under attack. Rear shields failing. Right shields failing. Left shields failing. Target shields have failed. Hull integrity below 75%. Four shields failing. Hull integrity below 50%. Target shields have failed. Hull integrity below 25%.
Ow, ow, ow. Oh, crap. And I'm dead. So even as high of a hull as this ship has, you can still die. Oh yeah, you can still die. Very easily.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Look at that, I'm doing like no damage. Crazy. I can't even kill this one sphere. How terrible is that, to be honest with you? That is just terrible. Come on, mines, do something. See, they're always behind my ship. I guess I could try to do that. See if that does anything.
Failing.
Yeah, there we go. I can smash them into there. Guess I
Rear
could do that.
Failing.
Let me show you how I can fire. See, I can fire on this sphere if I can turn around fast enough. That sphere went far away. I want to demonstrate the long-range firing ability. Let me get out of range. I just want to demonstrate. See, I'm out of range right now. Outside of firing range because it's red. I'm at 11. But I can still fire on it with that.
Warning.
But it doesn't do a lot. And then it has a 3-minute recharge time. So what the hey? Takes too long to recharge anyway. 3 minutes before I can use it again. No thanks. See how that is so slow too? The cannon, it goes bump, bump. Right here, bump, bump. And then it's slow. It takes too long. Really, it's just stupid. And not very useful. Dang, how did all these spears get over here? They went far from home.
Shield failing.
I got no chance of doing this on my own. Just 2 spheres, I can't even handle that.
Target's shields have failed. 4 shields failing. Hull integrity below 50%.
Look, I'm about to die. I'm about to freaking die with the hull I have. Just because of 2 spheres. I can't even take care of 2 freaking spheres. Just kill me now. Just go ahead. Kill me now. ship! Can't take care of 2 freaking spheres without exploding. Screw those spheres. Let's get this gate down.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Do the photonic decoy.
You will lower your shields and prepare to be boarded.
No, actually, we're okay. Never mind. I keep forgetting that timer is actually optional in advance. Yay! I did the thing.
4 shields failing. Rear shields failing. Hull integrity below 75%.
You will be Borg.
Left shields failing.
Really?
Hull integrity below 50%.
Technological and biological distinctiveness to our own.
Right shield failing. Hull integrity below 50%.
Disarm your weapons. You will escort us to your home world, where we will begin assimilating your culture and technology.
That took a long time. So there you go. That is the Apex Hirogen Battlecruiser, an infected space advance using Tetrion weapons Apex Predator set, all Tetrion based, all very Apexy, very Hirogen-y. So that gives you an idea of what to expect versus the Borg in this ship, and even that was pretty tough. But now I'm going to do some more focused runs. I've got some damage. I'm gonna go heal that first, and let's go do Argala in the Delta Quadrant. That will allow us to take a more solo look at the ship versus enemy. I'll get to demonstrate the weapons a little bit better. We will do the sniper blast, the decoy, and I'll show you how all that works, firing outside of the 10 kilometer and all that after I heal up and get that started, so stand by. Alright, welcome back everybody. The Doctor here. I am at Argala in the Delta Quadrant to continue our look at the Apex Battlecruiser Hirogen. I am going to do this patrol. I just happened to find a scimitar here, so I decided to get myself next to it just to give you a size comparison so you can see how it compares on size. One thing you will notice is the Apex Heavy Battlecruiser is definitely longer than the scimitar. So orientating it correctly to fire weapons and all that, a little more difficult. On size, it is actually in some places bigger than the scimitar. It's not as wide as the scimitar. The scimitar's got wings, but it's longer than the scimitar, and on sheer bulk, it appears to be bigger in bulk than the scimitar. So that is a good size comparison, but it shows you just how big the Apex really is. Alright, let's do Patrol Argala. This will give us a more solo look at fighting using this ship. Again, still using the Tetrion build, Apex Predator set, Tetrions, all the native Hirogen weaponry. Now, remember, we can fire our sniper blast outside of their firing range, so I can go like bam bam. Actually, let's back up. So I want to demonstrate
ship is
that.
Under attack.
Actually, it's not just the sniper, it's the cannon itself that can fire outside of 10 km. So let's pull back here. Get out of range. Come on. There we go. Now that I'm out of range, see, the cannon will fire. See, the cannon will go bam, bam, bam. But it doesn't do a lot of damage. I mean, what's the point of firing outside of 10 km if you're not doing a lot of damage? It's not worth it. And that's the only weapon that can fire outside of that range. If you had other cannons, they could not do that. So that's basically all you're being able to do outside of 10 km. There's just no point to it. Fly 2 km closer and then fire all your weapons. That's all you gotta do.
Ship is under attack. Warning, ship is under attack. 4 shields failing. Target's shields have failed. Left shields failing.
Can't turn worth squat.
Hull integrity below 75%. Hull integrity below 50%.
I'm taking a lot of damage for a ship that has a high hull and a lot of resist. Yeah, look how much damage I'm still taking. I mean, I can't even. Look at that! I'm about to blow up. What the heck? Now I am fighting other Hirogen here. Remember, I told you guys Argala is kind of random. Sometimes you will get, more often than times, you will get Kazon, but other times there's a chance you'll get other aliens. Right now I am doing the erosion. Look at all that damage I took. As high as a hull as this ship has and the resist, I still shouldn't be taking that much damage. It's really weird.
Warning, ship is under attack. Hull integrity below 75. Target shields have failed.
Let's do the photonic decoy, that'll help.
Target shields have failed. Shields have failed.
Man, difficult. See, I can't fire the sniper right now. I'm too close to the ship. Let's fire on this one from a distance. Right there, we can fire on it.
Warning, ship is under attack.
What use did that do? Now I got a 3-minute cooldown on this. Might as well just fly closer and use all my weapons.
Target shields have failed.
Really, the most useful thing the ship has is the photonic decoy.
4 shields failing. Target shields have failed. failing. Right shields failing. Rear shields failing. Target's shields have failed. Hull integrity below 75%.
There we go. Finished that finally. Wow, that was pure agony. That was difficult. I'm going to do one more patrol. Just so we get a thorough view of the ship. I'll do the same one I did in the last video. And then I will discuss the ship, summarize it, and I will talk about a different build that may be a little bit better. So stay tuned for the next part. And welcome back, everybody. So here we are in the Apex Battlecruiser, Hirogen Apex, continuing our look. This is the last patrol we will do. We are in Taldewa, and I'm going to do the Carraya system. This is against the Romulans. So this will be our last good look at doing everything we can with all of the native abilities of this Hirogen battleship.
Shields have failed. Shields failing. Target's shields have
Took a long time just to bring down that one ship there.
Rear shields failing.
Use the propellant decoy because I need it badly.
Target's shields have failed. Shields failing.
These bow guys, I really cannot kill with this ship.
Left shields failing. Warning, ship is under attack.
much damage at all. What
Four
the
shields
hay?
failing.
What the hay? The hay is doing the what?
Target's shields have failed.
Hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey.
Shields failing. Target's shields have failed. Shields have failed. Target's shields have failed.
Well, there you go, everybody. That is a complete look at the Apex Hirogen Battlecruiser in combat. I just remembered that I forgot to do a turn test. I'll keep the planet here in sight, and I will just move the ship. And here we go. We're doing a full turn, and this is how slow it does a turn. This is with no help at all. This is about 8 degrees per second, and this is how crappy it turns. So as you can see, putting dual cannons or dual heavy cannons is kind of pointless. Well, any type of cannon is a bit pointless on this ship. This ship needs weapons that can fire in wide arcs and in 360 degree if you can. This ship benefits from beams, 360 degree weaponry like the kinetic cutting beam and the omnidirectional beam. This also benefits from wide angle torpedoes. You do not want a normal torpedo on this, definitely a wide angle if you're going to fly this ship. So those type of weaponry are best for this ship. This ship just not going to cut it with cannons. In fact, the destabilized Tetrion cannon that is part of the Apex Predator set is not worth it on this ship. It's a piece of junk on this ship. It's just, it wastes space. It wastes space that a beam could be in. A beam is better is better for that slot than this long-range destabilized Tetrion heavy cannon. So let's talk about what I think about this ship. In a whole, I can summarize it by saying, stay away from this ship. Do not buy this ship. This is the worst ship I have ever flown in Star Trek Online. I am in agony flying this ship. I have been in agony the entire period of leveling the Starship Mastery and trying out different builds with this ship. My entire time using this ship has been painful, to say the least. I hate this ship. This ship is revolting. I cannot wait to get rid of this ship. Immediately following this video, I am changing ships. I have been waiting to do this video forever so that I can finally get out of this ship and get into a ship I actually enjoy. Do not buy, stay away from. That is my summary of this ship. And I am absolutely serious. Do not waste your low buy on this ship. This is 800 low buy. Forget it. Save that low buy for something better. Do not buy this in the exchange. It's 75 million. Is it worth it? Absolutely not. It's worth about maybe 1 EC. Do not spend or waste your money on this ship. You will be dissatisfied. If you're looking for a tank, there are better tanks out there. There are better ships that are better at tanking. If you're looking for a ship to do damage, this ship does no damage. This ship is like a damageless ship. If you want a ship that just pokes at the enemy and tickles them with a feather, this is the ship for you. If you want a ship that actually gets you somewhere and completes missions, this is not the ship for you. This ship is not good for PvP. This ship is not good for PvE. This ship is not good in any of the advanced STFs. This ship is not good in any of the DPS channels. This ship will not get you by. It will actually get you banned. This ship is trash. I cannot be more clear about that. There is not any good going for this ship. I'm trying to think of a positive. The one positive that this ship could possibly have would be the fact that it has a very high hull strength and has a lot of resists through that mastery, through the Tier 5-U mastery, that would make it a good tanking ship. But you saw how much damage I was taking and what my hull strength is, 93,000, which is not bad. That's pretty good hull strength. And yet, I was still taking a lot of damage. I was still losing my hull strength and shields pretty fast. And I was still on the verge of blowing up a lot, and did blow up a lot. And that is odd and doesn't seem right, considering the amount of hull strength and resists that the ship has. It seems like it's messed up somehow. Maybe something is not working right. But as a tanking ship, it doesn't even tank well. So, avoid. Just avoid. There are better ships out there that both A, tank better, and B, do more damage at the same time of being a good tank. There are a lot better ships out there. This is not one of those ships. The destabilizing Tetrion cannon, absolutely pointless on this ship. There's no point, first of all, in firing at 12 kilometers out from your enemy. Just fly 2 kilometers closer and you can use all your weapons. At 12 kilometers out, this is the only weapon that will fire. All your other weapons will not. And all it does is go pew, pew, and not much damage. And it goes pew, 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 and not much damage. And that's the only weapon that will fire, and that's nothing. The sniper blast, it goes pew, and even that doesn't do much damage. So there's no point at firing outside of 10 kilometers. There's just no reason for it. I find no use in it. Not once have I found a use for firing outside of the firing range of other enemies. It's just not been a thing. If all my weapons fired outside of 10 kilometers, well, that would be useful. But it don't. Just this Tetrion heavy cannon does. And it's just one cannon. It just goes pew pew. It's not a dual cannon. It doesn't go pew 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 pew. It's not a dual heavy cannon. It's just one dual cannon. So it's pointless. The sniper feature on it just doesn't do enough damage. I mean, a feature like that should just punch damage, man. It should take an enemy down to half health or do something to be useful, because it has a 3-minute recharge time. If I'm 12 kilometers out and I'm shooting the enemy with it, I've got to wait 3 minutes before I can fire it again. Well, I'm not going to just sit there doing nothing for 3 minutes waiting for it to recharge. No, I'm going to fly in the rest of the way and do damage. So it's pointless. It needs to do either a lot more damage or they need to take the recharge time of 3 minutes away. One or the other needs to happen with that weapon. The mines, pointless, okay? They are tethered, first of all, to the ship. They don't sit in place. Okay, that's kind of cool. But they don't really hit the enemy ever, because you're always flying either toward the enemy, you know, or you're flying to on the side and you're doing, you know, flanking damage, or you're firing your beams from the side, you know, as you would do in a cruiser. So these mines never really touch or reach the enemy. They're always behind you because you're flying and they get pulled behind you. You would need the enemy to fly behind you or somehow swing your ship around to fling the mines at the enemy. But the problem there is the ship doesn't turn very fast, so you can only do that when you use evasive maneuvers, and even then it's still slow. So the mines, useless. So far the cannon's useless, so far the mine's useless. Well, that's 2 huge parts of the Apex Predator set. Pointless, just wasting space that you could use for something else. Tetrion damage has never been the bestest damage to use in the game anyway. You can build a good Tetrion, you know, damage ship, sure. This is just not it. This is not the one for Tetrion damage. This ship needs anti-protons or something else that you can really, really buff up, or phasers even would be better. Just not good enough. Thank goodness for the 4th tactical console slot with the Tier 5-U upgrade that at least gives us a little bit more damage we can add to it. But even that's still not enough. Could you imagine this thing without that 4th slot as just a regular Tier 5 ship? I did before I upgraded it. It was terrible. Now, I was telling you guys about another different kind of build you could use. And that is anti-protons. You'll notice I have all that up here. I've got a loadout. I'm going to switch to my anti-proton build. This is potentially a better build. Here I have 2 advanced fleet anti-proton beams. Now Mark 12, but I can upgrade these to 13 or 14. Just keep that in mind. 2 beams here and a dual beam. So I replaced the destabilized cannon with basically another beam. See? So I got 2 beams and then a dual beam, and then I replaced the mine with the omnidirectional beam. This is a 360-degree beam. That means even if I'm firing forward, this beam will also fire forward with me, and then 2 other anti-proton beams as well. And also to make it a little more tanky, because I was still taking a lot of damage and blowing up easy, I put another field generator on here for shield capacity. So my shield capacity is now 20,115. So I've got more shields. I replaced the that matrix console, the threat analysis matrix. I replaced it. I put the Nucara universal particle converter up here instead. So I just moved those things around, and also I changed over to the Obelisk Subspace Rift Core, which will, in combination with the omnidirectional beam, give me more anti-proton damage. Making those changes slightly, basically getting rid of the Apex Predator set, and doing that makes this ship infinitely more better. Infinitely. Well, not infinitely. But it makes it better. I will just demonstrate real quick in another patrol. We won't do the whole patrol, but I'll just do one round to show you now how this ship is better. Let's go to Japori. And now I will just show you that with this anti-proton build, it's a little bit better. It's still terrible, but it's not as terrible. It's kind of almost playable. Yeah, this is a ship that I just cannot wait to get out of and never, ever, 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 ever fly again. Good thing it became Tier 5-U, because as a Tier 5 ship it was even worse. Those Tier 5, even those Tier 5-U abilities cannot save this ship. So here's the anti-proton build. Let's just do some stuff here.
Warning, ship is under attack.
I flew in too fast, oh well.
Target's shields have failed.
I'm doing a little more damage now. Just a little.
Shields failing. Right shields failing. Target's shields have failed.
Alright, let's fly away. And I just wanted to demonstrate how it is a little bit better now that I replaced the cannon and the console down there, and the mine. The mines are gone. And just replaced it with another beam. Now knowing that you can also put the other 360-degree omnidirectional beam on here as well, I'd probably do that to give me even more 360-degree damage there. And yeah, replacing that cannon and that mine just really helped a lot. So that is one way you can improve the ship, is to actually get rid of that Hirogen Apex Predator set. In fact, this set may be better on the other Hirogen ship, the one that's more of an escort, because on this battlecruiser, it is not a good set. It is just not worth it. Now, as for the native ability that comes with this ship, the photonic decoy swarm, that is most useful. That really is useful, and you need it on this ship just to do the extra damage, because those photonic ships do fire on the enemy. That added damage that they are doing, you need it on this ship. That's why I was saying before that I really feel a hangar bay would benefit this ship a lot. Now, I know it doesn't call itself a hangar ship or a carrier, which would have a hangar, but this ship is big enough. This ship is as big as a Scimitar or bigger. This ship has a 1,200 crew. This ship has what would feel like the capacity to support a hangar bay, at least one, at least a couple of ships, 2 or 4 ships or whatever. It would have that ability to have a hangar bay. So I believe, even though it's not a carrier, this could be the one battlecruiser in the game that could have a hangar bay. It could support a hangar bay. That would make it much more useful and maybe even entice some people into wanting the ship. Because I believe with a hangar bay, this ship could do more damage and would be a little more useful. But as it is, as the ship currently is, it's not a useful ship. There are other ships that are better tanks, and there are other ships that do more damage, and there are ships that do both at the same time. This is just not a good ship. I would avoid the Hirogen Apex Battlecruiser. And that is my review and my conclusion of the Hirogen Apex Battlecruiser. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you drive this ship, let us know what you think. Give us your experiences. Tell us your builds and what's working for you or not working for you. And if you were thinking about getting this ship, let us know what you think about it now. I am really interested in any people that actually spent money on this ship. I feel sorry for you. You have my condolences. It is not a good ship, and that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.